Oh, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What, 27th of October? Uh, 2019. I look out this window. You know, I do this a lot of my videos because I use these, got these two big windows in the corner of the house, and I open the blinds and I kind of tilt them down so I can get good light to come in over here. And then I've got a lamp over here, an old desk lamp that, because I have to do it cheap. But I got a desk lamp over here. I hang a piece of paper over in front of it, and instead of getting the white light off of the bulb, it's got a one of them new curly bulbs in it. Like fluorescence, I guess. But it's got that in it. But to keep it from being too bright and balance out with what I got here, I hang a piece of paper down over the front of the thingy the bulb is in. The light, it's about like this, the reflector, and the little bulb's about like this. So I hang a piece of paper over it, and what I'm getting is a light through that white paper and the reflection inside of that reflector, the white inside of it. It's not the best, but yeah, I manage. My little camera, sometimes I get a little frustrated with it. Just don't, the focus is not quite right on it. But that's what can I say? Uh, I was thinking, I was in there uh, just a minute ago before I come in and turn the camera on, and I was thinking about Kanye West. You know, I think he was a rapper or whatever. I wasn't, because he's a little behind my time. My time. I was born in the '50s. I was thinking about Kanye, and we know that he's been in some stuff in the past that wasn't quite kosher, but but I hear now that he's got a Christian thing going, and he's speaking Jesus, and that is out of this world awesome. That's awesome. Because listen to me, Jesus Christ is the life of this nation. He has taken hold of the life of this nation and pushing it. That's awesome, man. It's awesome. I'd wondered whether, the gospel had done its intended purpose in his life, but it's looking more and more like it has, and that I truly hope so. And if so, old friend Ken, hang in there, dude. Keep pushing. I love you. God loves you. The Lamb of God died for you. Till one day, who knows? You may be one of the world's next leaders, the best leaders of a godly moral essence to keep uh, uh, truth and honor and justice in its place. You may be one of the next leaders, man. It's awesome. It's really awesome. you know, I do these videos, and before I'd started videos about a year ago or so longer, I've done typed, hit that keypad. Well, I'm not the best typer, I'm not the best speller, and I'm not the best speaker. I'm not, but that's what I do. That's what I do. Just try to, I'm not a politician. I'm not a philosopher. You know, I believe in truth and honor. I believe in justice. I believe that God set this nation on a purpose. Our history is recorded, people, that God set this nation on its course. And I believe it is for a purpose. And today's that purpose. That we remain vigilant, that we remain constant toward truth and honor, that at the end of the day, justice would reign. Now, given by the evidences that we're seeing, there's people in this nation. We know they're around the world. That's a fact, and we know for a fact now they're in this nation. So now that they don't adhere to truth. They don't adhere to honor. They don't adhere to actual fairness. They don't adhere to justice. They want liberal thinking wants to manipulate and maneuver the boundaries of right and wrong. Now listen, I just ate 30 minutes ago, and it's, okay. But liberal thinking wants to manipulate and maneuver. It wants to be able to push the boundaries of right and wrong around to suit it. If today their thinking is of just an area, they're thinking of an area, but overnight, if their mind changes, or the absurdities or the obscurities of their mind maneuver their thinking, maneuver their intentions and stuff, they want to be able to maneuver the boundaries of right and wrong. They want to push back the boundaries of truth and honor. They want to have their decision that they can push it back. What was it Karl Marx said? He said, if we can destroy the morals of one generation of Americans, we can own the nation. If we can push back the truth, if we can push back the honor, if we can push back the discretion, if we can push back the regard, if we can push back the respect, if we can push back virginity, if we can push back prudence, if we can push back whatever, then we can change the way things function. If we change it enough, we will eventually own it. That's what he was saying. But see, you got people out there, you got millions of people in this nation right now. They're Marxist. They may call themselves socialists. They may call themselves whatever. They may call themselves skinheads. They may call themselves Islamists. They can call themselves anything. Anything. If the ends are the same, they are the same. But see, this is the thing. They all came from the same daddy. They all came from the same daddy. Okay? The seed of their daddy is in them. The seed of their daddy is in them. If the ends are the same, they are the same. Who gives a jack crap how you get to a point of absurdity and atrocity? Who cares what the path is? If it takes you to an end that isn't honorable, that isn't just, that isn't actually fair and decent for everybody, it's a lie. It's a lie. See, that's what I was talking about at Kingdom West. I hope and pray the gospel has just filled him and overwhelmed him to the point that the man just friggin' loses it for Jesus Christ. I really do. Because there is the life of this nation. That is the life. That is the essence. Listen, this nation was formed on that, people. It was formed out of the very righteousness, out of the very holiness of the bowels of God, to set the laws in order, that to the black man, the red man, the yellow man, the white man, that we would all be able to come into a place that we're recognized. That we're recognized. It was formed for that purpose. And it was formed out of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Keep trudging on, Brother Keenan. Lord bless. Lord bless. It's awesome. Awesome. It just fills me to the brim. Just thinking about it, just overwhelms my heart to know that a man that in his past, just as I have, just as you have, just as all of us have, what the Bible says we all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. We've all been down the poop path, man. But the gospel of Jesus Christ was put in its place and in motion that we could be revived, that we could be renewed, brought back into the place to where God could look in our eyes and say, Adam, I'm still in the garden, man. You're the one that's out of the garden, Adam. Come back to the garden. Walk with me. Walk with me. Oh, Jesus. Whew. Walk with me. And it's awesome. The news this morning, I've been seeing a post or a something. I think I seen a post. They said there was a judge who said that the course the Democratic Party was on, that they could hold secret hearings, they could bring an impeachment against the president out of secret hearings where due process, where actual fair law and order and justice could be exercised, that they could actually do their impeachment in secret. Do you realize what that means? Now, the judge, and I've been seeing a judge said that. Now, I don't know if he made a ruling in it or whether he just said that or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the whole thing yet. You know what that means? That means if they can go behind closed doors, they can feed each other's hatred, they can feed each other's lies, they can feed each other's resentment, they can feed each other's corruption, they can feed each other's rot, they can get in there, they can make up stories, they can make up lies. We know already Adam Schiff lied about the conversation on the phone. We know that already. Even the liberal medias. Listen, when the liberal medias come out and give you 3 or 4 Pinocchios, you freaking lied, son. And they see it. They know it. They have already given Adam Schiff 3 or 4 Pinocchios. Even the liberal medias. And when the liberal medias do that, people, there's something wrong. The pervert that's being Pinocchioed, there's something bad, son. Something is going seriously south. Okay? But they're pushing this lie. And like I said, I'd heard or seen a post or something that a judge had said it was legal what they were doing. You know what they've been called, of course, the Republicans or conservatives, as so-called honest deplorables. We're saying it's as Nazi style kangaroo court. They push the narrative. Who gives a jack crap what the truth is, what the facts are? They get pushed their narrative and get by with it. Well, but I'm serious. It's this stuff is serious. And I see a post. Mitch McConnell says if the House of Representatives and Pelosi and Schiff and Nadler and these more perverted thinkers there, if they said it, McConnell said if the House pushes this and they impeach the president, they have to follow the same rules. That the Senate has to follow the same rules. Now you think of how freaking stupid that is. If the House, out of corruption and lie and hatred and envy and jealousy and strife and everything, if they can push their rot to the point that they can say he has to go, then the U.S. Senate has to follow suit. Now, can you think of how absurd, how foolish, how vile that even sounds? Ugly stuff, people. Listen, you've got to realize. Listen, Mitch McConnell, when Obama was in, Obama wanted to appoint liberal judges. Liberal judges that wanted to, they would basically just say, push the boundaries of truth and honor back and say, let perversions on it. That's what liberal judges do, because their thinking is perverse. It's corrupt. It's not honorable. It's not just. It's not decent. It's not respectable. It's vile. Liberal thinking is vile thinking. You don't believe me? Read Old Testament Bible, book of Isaiah, chapter 32, 5 through 8. Read it for yourself. Now you say, well, we don't actually believe in the Bible. We don't adhere to that. That we think that is just a religious scenario that was pushed and well, if you would go all around the world, every country in the world, you would find some people in every country in this world, they would say Jesus Christ changes lives. Jesus Christ changed my gay attitude into where I was respectable. I was decent. I no longer adhered to this same sex. You would find that Jesus Christ stopped my thievery. You would find Jesus Christ stopped my adulteries. Jesus Christ stopped my lying. Jesus Christ stopped the rot of my life, because He's real. He changes lives. Liberal thinking, Marxist thinking, socialist thinking, Islamic thinking. I have to bring it all up, people. I can't ignore this. I can't ignore that. Because they all follow the same end. They all are maneuvering people to the same end. Now, I look at, I want to give people a fair stand, a fair, I want everybody to be on the same platform, at least, that I say, well, this one is not, this one's not right, this one's a lie. Then I have to give all people an even standing. And see, when I say Islamist, I look at the Middle East over there, and I look at all the war. Those Muslims have fought and fought and fought for thousands of years. They fight one another. Christian, capitalist America has been going over and trying to get some kind of peace seated in. Muslims have come over here. They have adhered to the laws of this nation. And I look at that in respect that not all people are stupid just because they're socialist or Islamic or this or that. They've got a brain. They've got a brain. There's nobody. Listen, there's not anybody with two decent brain cells rubbing together between their ears want their families and their bloodlines knotted up in hate and war. There's nobody with two decent brain cells rubbing together between their ears want their families knotted up in hatred and war all the time they're alive. Muhammad said he said, kill everything that don't believe like you. Old Testament Bible, which is what a lot of people want to do when they attack Jesus Christ. They are God, the one true God the Christians believe in. Old Testament Bible, God told them, said, people want to live with you. Tell them to give themselves over to your thinking and live with you, because it'll bring peace to you. It'll be peace. If they're willing to assimilate themselves to you, then there'll be peace in the nation with them also. But he said if people come in and they want to assimilate themselves, he said get rid of them. But what you have to realize is in the Bible, in the scriptures that have been passed down through Christianity, what you have to realize, see the writer in the New Testament, he said, well, Jesus Christ said it. He said the Old Testament was a teacher. The Mosaic laws, or the Ten Commandments passed to Moses, were a teacher. If you love God first, you won't commit atrocities against your brother. That's the second. You'll love your brother as you love God. You won't commit atrocities against your brother. You won't lie to him, and it passes right on down through the third, fourth, fifth. You won't lie to him. You won't steal from him. You won't covet his stuff. You won't commit adultery with his wife or his husband. You won't do that. If you love God first, you won't commit. Jesus Christ said the Old Testament was a teacher. The writers of the New Testament, they portray the same thing. These things were so under Moses that we would know today what we need to do and what we don't need to be doing. I've heard, I think Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, back during his first term, he lied getting in office, then lied about this and that, and covered up Benghazi, and they've lied about the emails of Hillary. I mean, all this, you got to realize this, people. He attacked Christianity. He attacked Christianity. He said, well, you back to England, and there was a lot of people done this. Yes, there were. A lot of atrocities took place under England. But listen, Christianity walked off. They left England behind. Why? Because England wasn't just. They weren't fair. They didn't actually keep up the teachings of Jesus Christ and the holiness of God. They done atrocities, man. People bled, cried, and died under old England. Christians left England, come to America. England tried to follow. Christianity fought them off, pushed them back. We don't want your life. We don't want your cruelty. We don't want your hatred. We don't want this, that, whatever, and all this stuff. Kicked them out of America. Well, then you had the French and come over, and what it was, the old English attitude is it tried to follow. It set the Native Americans, the Indians of America, it set them at odds against the white man. Now, the whole white man thing is a problem. The whole white man wasn't a problem. The problem was England brought their lies over. They brought their cruelty, their hardness, their injustice. But the narrative was painted. The same kind of narrative Barack Obama played when he was in office. Oh, they don't like me because I'm black. I'm black. I'm black. They don't like me. The same narrative. Same old piece of junk. The Indians had reason to believe it. But, they were set at odds. There was things took place. Barack Obama just lied through his friggin' teeth, man. His daddy taught him to be a liar. His daddy taught him to be a liar. The devil taught him to be a liar. But we look at where we are today in America. Listen, I hate to push these videos getting longer and longer because people just, they don't want to sit and listen to an old four-eyed ignorant hillbilly that's losing his faith faster than a Chinese can count rice. They don't want to sit and look at that all the time. But they're pushing a narrative that truth and honor and decency is a joke. It's a lie. It's an intrusion upon liberty and life. People, if you're having a problem with truth and honor, you're the problem. You are the problem. There's no problem with truth and honor. You are the problem. Our forefathers started the laws of this nation in truth and honor, that at the end of the day, justice would reign. But the lies, listen, the same lies, the same old hate-filled, treacherous, treasonous, obscure lies of old England are alive on the soil of America today. And it's not white America. It's not white elitists and nationalists and this and that and whatever. It's just pure old friggin' devil-filled lies. And who is it that's rejecting truth? Who is it that is attacking a Christianity? Who is it that has attacked the God of godly moral laws and justice and honor? Who is it? It's liberals. It's liberals. It's socialists. It's Marxists. It's communists. You know, let's just get back here and face the realities. You know, there used to be a senator. He was a West Virginia senator. I don't think I ever voted for the man. Don't think I ever did. But I know I did. I know I did not in the last few years that he was alive. Was Robert C. Byrd. Robert C. Byrd was a Democrat. Now listen. I want you to listen how obscure, how absurd this was around this man. He at one time he was leader of the U.S. Congress, the senators. Now listen to me. He was a high priest or something of the KKK, a priest in it. I mean, the KKK, you know, white robes, burning crosses, killing blacks. Okay? Now listen to this. Listen to this. I want you to listen how absurd, how obscure, how ridiculous the life of this man. This man was a total contradiction within himself. It was what his words were. He was a total, just like Barack Obama is a contradiction to what he is as a communist or a socialist and a Muslim. But now you got to realize this. Barack Obama was a socialist. Socialists do not believe in God. They do not believe in a God. They are the God. The man within, the woman within, they are the God. They don't believe in God. Man himself is the God to them. But Barack Obama, though he was a socialist, a God within himself or to himself or whatever, he believed in Allah. Allah, God. How do you take part of you that says you're a God yourself, then believe in and that actually believe there is actually no such thing as a God, and then mix it with another part of you that says there is a God? How do you take these two? I mean, these two are like this, man. They're like, just how do you do that? Well, there's a way that works. There's a way that works. That works if both sides are a lie. Look at the Middle East. These Muslims over there. They're at war with one another. Both sides. Okay? You got to look at where the daddy is. You've got to look at where the daddy comes from. What he is. Robert C. Byrd. He taught at a Bible class, a Bible school up there in Raleigh County, Beckley, West Virginia. He taught a Bible class. I'd never sat through it. I don't know what. I don't know. Okay, I just don't know. I never went there. I never listened to him lecture in a Bible class. I never did. But he taught in a Bible class. He was teaching God through his belief of the Bible, but yet he was he was actually teaching the hatred that was pushed upon the ridiculous Christian walk of England, of Hitler, of others that claim God or the Jesus Christ or the righteousness of God, but yet their actions were totally different. His life was a contradiction. His life was a contradiction to itself. And him, a priest of the KKK or a leader of the KKK, I don't know, whatever they call him, I don't know. But he was a contradiction. You know, from all account that I know of God, you know, you speak truth, you speak honor, you speak consideration in fairness. You speak justice, you speak justice. You speak respect and regard. You love. You have compassion. That is the life of Christ. That was what he taught. That's what his ministry, the 3.5 years that he ministered, and the people around him heard him. Yes, they listened to priests and Sadducees and scribes and stuff for 10 years, 30 years, 60 years. They listened to these religious zealots. They listened to them all their lives. But when Jesus Christ came and he actually portrayed and explained the Old Testament through his life, his words and his actions, he gathered crowds that were unreal, man. I mean, you look back in that time, over 2,000 years ago, you look back in that time and Jesus Christ gathering crowds of people, of 5,000, not counting women and children. And these people were having to walk from wherever it was they lived. And he was gathering crowds of 5,000 in a population that wasn't even freaking close to being near what the population is today. He was gathering 5,000, not counting women and children. Why? Because the actual words, the actual essence of God was being spoken. People loved it. They loved to know that there was an actual truth. There was an actual living, holy, righteous God adhering to them, to their needs. And they loved it. A total contradiction to what you see in religions today. Religions. Those that adhere to the actual life of Christ, that know that what the life of Christ was, they're not walking with this other crowd. They've separated themselves. This other crowd says, forget right and wrong, forget boundaries, forget this, forget that. Let us change it. Let us maneuver it. Let us manipulate these boundaries to suit today. Let us change things to suit this hour. People, if you have to change right and wrong and truth and honor and justice, there's something wrong. And it's not justice. It's not truth and honor. It's not right and wrong. It's you. God established the boundaries in the earth fares well under those boundaries. But if you neglect the boundaries, the earth is going to kick your teeth out. Creation itself will be hard on you. Where do you think social diseases come from? Where do you think all this stuff going on comes from? Look at all this junk. We have problems in life. What Jacob said, man, you're short of days and filled with problems, man. All kinds of junk going on. But look at us. We make decisions that double up on the problems. We're making decisions that are causing these problems we have to compound. What is it here by, well, we know California and some others, you know, they push LGBT and that's into the schools and stuff. And now we're hearing it, there's Nevada is doing it. And we're hearing it, what is it, another state or two. They're pushing their LGBT agenda. Yeah, I done a video here just a few days ago. Just maybe a week ago. I don't remember. Maybe a week and a half. I don't know. But, you know, I done a video and I tried to explain to, you know, Jimmy Swaggart, when he was big in the ministry, you know, before his little issue come up, he spoke truth to people. He told people, he said, said the gay community are putting in their publications, we want to seduce your children. We want to manipulate their thinking until, well, they're basically their butts are ours. Okay, that's what seduce means. That's what it means. I mean, it's paraphrasing it but cutting it short. That's what it means. Okay? And you look at Sodom and Gomorrah. Seduce is to actually manipulate until you own something. Okay? Until you control it. Look at Sodom and Gomorrah. Given over to obscurities and sexual absurdities and unnatural affections. Look what they done when God or Jesus and the angels come into Sodom, you know, to get Lot and his family out. Look what they done. Beating on the door. Send us those fair men. Send us that fair-skinned men. We want to know them. Send them out. Send them out. Lot said, "No, listen, don't do this to these righteous people. Listen, I've got 2 virgin daughters here. You can have them. Have your way with them, but don't do it to these righteous men. Give us the righteous men. Give us the fair-skinned men. Send them out. We want them." Pay attention. Pay attention to what LGBT. Now they're pushing it through their school curriculums in these states. We want them. We want to seduce your children's thinking. We want your little boys' butt. We want your little girls' butt. We want their mind. We want their lives. Send them out. Send them out. America, you need to wake up. Karl Marx, if we can destroy the morals of one generation of Americans, we can take the country. Hello. Hello. We want to have our way with your children. We want to own their butt, their penis, their vagina, their mouth. We want to have our way with them. We want our obscurities, our absurdities, our unnatural affections to be satisfied on your families and your bloodline. That's what's going on. That is what's going on. They've tried to paint the picture. This is okay. This is cool, man. This is grand. It's all right. I put a video out. It's been, I don't know, several months back, year and a half, I don't remember. And I spoke about Karl Marx and stuff, about the garbage can thinking of this stuff that come from Marx. See, Marx was a drunken socialist, born 1800s, lived up in the 1900s. If we can destroy the morals of one generation of Americans, we can take the nation. Okay? He was a pervert. He was a friggin', he might not have been a gay. He might not have been this or that, whatever. But he was screwy, man. He was screwy, but he was sharp enough to know where the strength of Christian capitalist America was. It was in godly moral thinking. You know, this nation's not strong because of military. It's not strong because of its business. It's not strong because of this, that, all this other stuff. It's strong because God had started us on a path of honor, on a path that would be respected. on a path that people would see, and that honor would garner their desire. That honor would create a desire in them. God, I want to live in a country where I can live my life, and where I can fare well. I can be actually treated fairly and justly. I want to go there. I want to be one of them. I want it. I desire it. I crave to be free, to make up my own mind. I crave to be free, to vote for who I want. I want to be an American. Truth and honor garnered the respect of the world. It wasn't the riches. It wasn't the military and all this other stuff that made us strong. All that stuff came as the people come together. As they come together in a mutual respect, the strength started building stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. That's when we got strong, was when the people came and adhered to the laws of justice through truth and honor. That's when we became strong. But let me get back to what I said about this guy. I done a post. I put it on Facebook, and I go on different pages and walls and stuff, and I put this stuff because I'm not computer illiterate, man. I'm almost down computer illiterate. Okay, I mean, I got people make comments about, it's old John finally learned to copy and paste. Well, yeah, I do. That's awesome, ain't it? I know that much. I'm tickled to death. I'd like to know more. But they're trying to throw little slurs at me and stuff. But this is the thing. John Davis don't have access to everything in the world. But I know there are other true, honorable, justice-loving conservatives that can get the truth to me, and I trust their words with it. But why? Because of the essence. But anyway, this guy comes up, man, he comes right out, he replies to my post in this comment, and he just starts cursing me. What was it? What was it? What was bringing this? I uncovered his rot. I uncovered the core essence of what this person was. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about a thinking. I was talking about a political stance. I was talking about the corruption of essence in a thought pattern. And this fella come at me like I was a rabid dog or something. And he come at me, man. He wanted to chew me up, but I wasn't was rabid. I was the only one. I was the one that was lucent. I was the one that was speaking truth and honor. He comes at me with this rabid dog thinking. I uncovered the trash of what this man believed. I wasn't even talking to him. I didn't know this man. I wasn't talking to him. I was on a page or a wall. And he comes at me. I uncovered his trash. I uncovered their trash. I uncovered the rot. I uncovered the seditious treachery of their hearts and minds. He come at me like a rabid dog, man, like a friggin' crazed wolf or something or another, and just started cursing, all that stuff. Why? He was guilty. He's guilty, man. His soul, his conscience was guilty of this shame and this crime. I didn't attack him personally. I attacked the friggin' thinking. But he was guilty. You listen to these people. Oh, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. You hurt me. And then God spoke to me back, people. It's been a while back. Year and a half ago now. when I wasn't even thinking about this stuff. I was enjoying my breakfast out on a screened inside porch we have out here in the hills of West Virginia, the wife and I. God spoke to me. And after showing me Isaiah 32, 5 through 8, and telling me what he had years before that, a few years before, 2 or 3 years before that, and he spoke to me out there, and he told me why Isaiah says what it says. He told me why this stuff is going on the way it is. He spoke one word, and it got my attention. And I knew it, but I knew what had happened. I knew this stuff was going on. I knew this stuff had been accepted. But when God speaks to you, there ain't nobody else can speak to you like that. When he says it, hey, you can chalk it down, son, because it is exactly what he says. He spoke one word: legitimacy. Legitimacy had been given to the lies of the liberals. Legitimacy had been given to the scheming, the plotting, the secrecy, the treachery of liberal socialists. Legitimacy had been given to perversions, excuses given to people that are absurd, that they're thinking. Their thinking is absurd. Their thinking is screwy. It's messed up. Legitimacy had given to things. Women's sports. Let me show you. This is just one little example. Women's sports. Women busted their friggin' butt for years. 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 12 years, 15 years to be good at their sport. To be good at, to excel, to become, maybe even to become the best at their sport. Maybe it was volleyball. Maybe it's soccer. Maybe it's women's softball. Maybe it's this. Maybe that. Maybe it's gymnastics. They busted their friggin' rear end to be good at it. To be good at it. Hats off to them. They done all they could do to be good at what they were doing. But look what happens when an absurdity, an obscurity, an abnormality is stuck into the mix. Oh, yeah, I've got a penis, but I feel like a woman. What happens? They're forced to put them in that field, that volleyball court, that track field, this, that, whatever. And what happens? They begin to dominate. An absurdity, an obscurity, an abnormality has now stepped in to the lives of these women. And it's screwed it up. Cheated them out of all their practice. Cheated them out of all their tears and sweat. It's cheated them out of all their dreams and their things. It's cheated them. Cheated them. Why? Why? Because a friggin' pervert says, I want to be a woman. Cheated them out of something that they busted their butt to be. Cheated them. And you have to go to the courts and stuff. Listen, people, you have to realize, you've got to realize what lies in behind all this junk. Listen. Liberal thinking is a treacherous, villainous, vile attack against society. It's an attack against you. It's an attack against your family. It's an attack against your bloodline. Liberal thinking is like malignant tumor. It's like a malignant cancer. You might step back in some kind of ignorance and look at a skin tumor or cancer on somebody and say, "Oh, look at that! That's different, ain't it? Oh, that looks as good as a tattoo. Oh, look at it! That's awesome! Oh, I love that! That's cool! Well, look at that!" But you realize that underneath that spot or that place on him, death lives there. Death lives there. That's not a friggin' tattoo. Death lives there. Liberal thinking is an acceptance of absurdities and abnormalities and obscurities. It's an acceptance of rot and shame and death and pain. Liberal thinking is a disgrace. It is an attack against society. It's an attack against humanity. It's an attack against God. It's sin against God, but it's an attack against us. Us. They can't touch God. They fool with God. He's going to slap their jaws and say, "Get out of my face. Get out of my face." But see, they can attack us. Liberal thinking is an attack against you, your children, your wife, your husband, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your mom, your dads. Their attack against humanity, against all society. It's an attack, people. They can't touch God. God will slap their friggin' jaws. The day's already set for that. God alone knows when the time is. Jesus Christ said, "I don't know when all this stuff is going to head up right there." He said, "Only the Father knows. Only the Father knows when this is taking place, man." He said, "I'm here. He's got me pointed toward a destiny. I don't know when that destiny is going to stop and head up, but He said, I'm here. But only the Father knows where the destiny point is." God's going to slap her friggin' jaws. He's going to slap her jaws. Listen, God is going to slap the jaws of the pervert, the followers of the lies and the cheating, the abnormalities, the excuses, the absurdities, all this stuff. He's going to slap the jaws of those people. Now listen to me. But He's going to do it justly. He's going to do it honorably. How is He going to do it? He's going to do it through Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ hung on a cross for sins He didn't commit. Jesus Christ went through hours of literal atrocious pain, all kinds of stuff, humiliation. He was beaten with whips that they had the thing they called the cat o' nine tails. It was a whip that had 9 pieces of leather or something or another, and 9 pieces of it would come down like this, 9 of them come down like that right there, and they were together, and they would have glass and sharp rocks and metal woven into these tails. And they whipped him with these things. 39 stripes. Listen, can you imagine being whipped with a whip that had 9 pieces of leather on the end of it? I don't know how long they are. They could have been this long, could have been this long. I don't know. But they had glass, metal, sharp rocks, anything that would cut and rip the flesh woven into these pieces of leather. And they would hit you. They'd hit you, then they'd jerk it. This metal, the glass, the rock, whatever was in it, it would sink into the flesh, your skin, and then when they jerked it, it ripped it like a ravaging bear would an animal or a person. Stick him claws in and just rip the flesh. Can you imagine people being so cruel to another person? Can you imagine being so cruel that they would hit them with a thing that had 9 of those pieces of leather? Who knows how many pieces of glass or rock or metal, whatever, woven into that leather, and they were so cruel that they would hit them and then they would jerk it. 39 lashes with that whip. 39 of them. Can you imagine the cruelty of people that done that to others? People, this liberal agenda is pointing you straight toward that. Listen, the Bible says they're going to destroy many in the name of peace. They will destroy many in the name of peace. You've got to realize what lies in behind this godless, immoral push of liberals and socialists. Look what Islamic madness done to the four Americans over there in Benghazi. They were attacked. You had a president, a vice president, the leader of the House news outlet, Susan Rice. You had these different people. You had senators and representatives. Oh, they done that because they was the guy who went and put a movie together. They lied for a friggin' month. They even plotted a plan and put that man that put a movie together, put him behind bars. All the time they were lying. All the time they lied. They put a man behind bars. An innocent, honest, honorable, decent man went behind bars so these terrorists. They showed pictures. They showed pictures of Stevens, the ambassador. They showed pictures of him where he'd been manipulated. Ravaged, brutally murdered by Islamists. Brutally murdered by Islamists. Let's face the friggin' facts, people. Brutally murdered by Islamists. I'm gonna say something to you people they're Muslims. Some of you got good heads on your shoulders. You really have, and I respect that. I'm so very thankful for that. I really am. But there is a cruelty. There is a cruelty lies in behind the words of the Quran. There is a lie, a cruelty, a ravaging agenda lies behind the words of the Quran. I'm thankful that you've got a decent head on your shoulders, that you don't want your family to be involved in the brutality, the hardness, and the cruelty. But listen to me. When I see people that have been on American soil, like this military doctor, whatever it was, down in, where was it, Texas or Louisiana, he gets down there and he kills 13 American soldiers. Kills them. Murders them. In the name of Allah. I have to question what your book is teaching. I have to. You need to separate yourself from that rot. Separate yourself from that rot. If the ends are the same, they are the same. If Islam and communism and socialism and Nazism and fascism, if all this stuff is taking place and the ends are the same, they are the same. The daddy is the same daddy. I'm gonna get off. Shoot, I'm right knocking on off the whole hour here. Hey, I love you. God loves you. Find mercy and grace and favor and acceptance through the blood of Jesus Christ, and He'll fill you with joy. He'll fill you with a goodness that'll blow your friggin' mind. Man, he'll just overwhelm you with what only God can do. Have a good one.